Thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jerrel. I develop games for a living. Today I'm going to take a look at the new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 that was shown to us during the latest Nintendo Direct. I'm interested in seeing this. I haven't seen the trailer yet before, so I will share my technical analysis and breakdown. Whatever I see that I think is interesting, I'll discuss that with you, and I'll share my reaction to whatever we see here. I've played Kingdom Hearts games in the past, so I'm somewhat familiar with the series, but I'm not extremely knowledgeable about the intricacies of the lore, but I am interested in Kingdom Hearts. Let's take a look. What's at the end of the tassels there? I want to see what ornament that is. This is a pretty typical. The overall design is quite typical of the kinds of designs we see in the Kingdom Hearts series towards the middle of the series, after a few years after the series had matured a bit. But what we have here is higher detail density. The overall character designs are very consistent with what we've seen, but the detail density is different in that we can see the fibers of these cords. Yeah, I'd call them the hood cords there that tighten the hood. We can see the individual chain links themselves. So this is detailed density. It's the incorrect way to say it would be, oh, it's more realistic. That's not really the right way to describe, just higher detailed density. We can see the individual piping on the stitching here as we have expressing a difference between material layers, which is pretty nice. And we have piping here and the stitching. We can see the individual interlocking zippers. It's most likely these are not modeled, but the zippers themselves, well, these days, because we have so much brute force, we actually do sometimes model the actual zippers, but it's not an efficient way to do that. If you model the zippers, it has a very high performance cost because you have so many polygons. Generally, we use a combination of normal maps, which allows us to define some bumpiness. We'll use height maps, and we'll use specular maps so that we can convey those details without having to model them. Having to model them as well also results in the model becoming much harder to manage and modify later on. But as we see the actual zippers here, so this tells me that this is modeled. Now the reason why we started using models, actual 3D polygons for this kind of detail, is because we have now programs that allow us to create clothes that allows to brute force creating clothes, so it takes way less skill, way less effort to create clothes. It takes way less knowledge and understanding, but because of that, the performance cost of the clothes is significantly higher, and that's why games run really, really poorly these days in general, is because the people that are making the clothes are not people who are highly skilled in terms of understanding how to optimize. They wouldn't be able to make those clothes themselves. They use generators. This to me looks like it was generated. Modeling that yourself would be an absolute nightmare. So this looks like it was created using one of those clothes creations programs. And I've used those myself, but I've avoided using this kinds of brute force polygonal detail. But in this situation, it looks like they're going for high fidelity, high detail density. So I would say there's nothing wrong with this approach. And as long as they manage their other assets, they can still maintain decent performance. We have pretty good physics simulation. This is not hand animated. In the past, we would have to hand animate the clothes billowing in the wind. These days, we can use physics simulation, which is, oh boy, howdy, I'm so glad to have that. That's pretty nice. Yeah, looks good. It's not overly done, so that's quite good. There's a tendency to want to over exaggerate physics simulation when it comes to that because it's neat and expressive, but we can tend to overdo it. I really like this effect here. Let's see, it's a combination of particles and a shader effect, and a shader is just a program that tells the game engine how to render a piece of geometry. This is geometry, this is geometry, the tree is geometry. This is not actually a building, it's just a bunch of triangles. This is not actually a monster, it's just a bunch of triangles. We refer to that as geometry, and the shader can be assigned to each piece of geometry or part of the geometry. It's a really neat effect, that dither transparency, and it looks like it's based on height. Really, really great use of that shader effect. You get the breath as he exhales, a particle effect there, pretty nice. Okay, so we have our big bad guy here. Kind of moist looking. Nothing wrong with being a little moist. Please don't quote me on that. Oh, what was that? Okay, we see... I'm not sure if this is a technical fault, but we have some popping. Keep your eyes here. Well, you can keep your eyes in your head where they are, but point them over here. And you might see a visual anomaly. Okay, you see that sudden pop-in? Right there. It popped in just there. And one more time. Let's take a look. Did you see it? So this is real-time visuals. To me, what that looks like is the game streaming assets. And streaming assets means it's loading in the assets while the gameplay is actually occurring. We've started doing that in games because we're loadophobic now. We're afraid and we're hateful of loading screens. So what's happening is we have a lower quality version of this model here that has less polygons, and that can load faster and sooner. And then while the gameplay is running, we load in the higher resolution. I personally hate it. It really ruins immersion for me. It's so distracting because in the context of the work that we're looking at, there's no reason why it should do that. There's no reason why it should look like that. And technically, it shouldn't even have to look like that. If we just accepted loading screens, even a little bit, a loading screen that took 5-10 seconds, who cares? It's 5-10 seconds. You would not have that sort of immersion breaking technical fault. And yes, I will refer to that as a technical fault because it is incongruous and it disrupts the flow of immersion here. So I really am kind of surprised that that is kind of visible in there. And I'm disliking it more and more because our technology is so good right now. And I think developers are accepting mediocrity because that is substandard. I don't like seeing things like that. And it doesn't have to be that way. The developers can force the higher quality model to load ahead of time. So I don't want to linger too much on that. Let's go ahead and move on here. So, but that to me tells me this is running in real time. This is not pre-rendered CGI. Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't know why I said that like Resident Evil. Ooh, okay, here we go. We have Sora. Now he's got some sort of a golden chain here. Okay. So this big monster, what is that? Is that a vehicle that he has thrown? What is that there? Oh, it's a flying vehicle. Ooh, I like this. Look, you can see there is some degree of like dither transparency through his wings, or it's not entirely dithering, but there is a pattern to it. Oh, and you can see it through there as well. That is really cool. I really like that detail. Fantastic. Really neat. And the shader, I think, is doing all the work there. Okay. So did he just break a traffic light as he whips the chain? Interesting buildings. Oh, look, you can see the lower resolution of the shadows here as we pause. You see the visual anomaly here, the line sticking out. Just for some reason, that's indicative of a lower resolution shadow, which is weird because this shadow here is higher resolution and these look fine. So it may just be because that is farther in the distance, and when we have shadows in the distance, we don't need to see that much detail, so they're lower resolution. But for some reason, there's just a visual anomaly there where it doesn't look so great there. And we do that to save on performance. If we render high resolution shadows in the distance, then it has a higher performance cost. So let's see. The animations on Sora are very, very expressive here. We get a big view of the city. Special sale. No, I'm not sure which city this is supposed to be. There's English there. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And let's see what Sora does here. He does a little spin. Ooh, through the window. Ouch. Let's go ahead and take a look at that again. What? He gets hit? He does a spin, but then he doesn't actually do anything. So is that a dodge maneuver? That may be a dodge maneuver. Let's see. He uses his Spider-Man whip. He does that. So he didn't do an attack. So he's probably doing a little dodge. Okay, he's about to do a slice, and he gets hit by a big, big hand here. That's a concussion guaranteed. Okay, so have a look at these people here. What writing is that? I don't recognize that alphabet. Does this person not have a face? I'm kind of looking at this person here. It's sort of freaking me out because I think she's got like this blank sphere face. Oh, sphere face is freaking me out. I have a feeling that to save on production time, I have a feeling maybe these people don't have faces, and it also saves on their rendering. The rendering cost as well is they don't have faces, because I'm not seeing a face there, and it's kind of freaking me out a little bit. Okay, good recovery. You press the dodge button as you hit the ground, and that will allow you to tech that hit. Okay, I don't. Let's see here. Oh well, he must have a cold, and he doesn't want to spread it to anyone. Oh, you know what? I'll set a 10K view target. If this video hits 10K views, then I will do a character analysis on Sora throughout the series, and I will explain how his outfit has changed over the series, and I'll rank them, and I'll do an analysis. So if you would like that, share the video around, and I'll do that, a character design analysis for Sora. Ooh, here are our friends, Donald and Goofy. Hello, Donald. Fun fact, did you know that in Japan, Ronald McDonald, his name is Donald McDonald? Donarudo McDonarudo? Apparently, they thought it would be less confusing for people if it was Donarudo McDonarudo, as opposed to Ronaldo. See, I'm confused. So maybe it is a little less confusing. Oh, he's got steel cap boots. Very nice. These are fun. It's fun to see our familiar friends here. Nice, nice frame-by-frame animation on that fire there. Yeah, frame-by-frame particle system. Really like that. I'm not sure who these people are. Okay, you got the black feathers there. That umbrella is gonna... I really like the detail on that. Have a look at the wind that's conveyed in this scene. Quite windy, and we show the deformation of the umbrella through the wind. Now, there is not actually any wind here, right? There is no such thing as wind in video games. We are faking it. We are conveying that there is wind by having clothes billow and move around, by having trees and foliage move around. But there is a funny discrepancy here. If you have a look at Sora's hair, the wind appears to be blowing that way for Sora's hair, but if you look at the deformation of the umbrella, it looks like the wind is blowing that direction. So there's a little bit of discrepancy there. Have a look at the hair here. It looks like the wind should be blowing that way. Otherwise, if the wind really was blowing that way, have a look at the raindrops as well are blowing the other direction, and the deformation of the umbrella is deforming in the wrong direction. So that's interesting to point out. And I did have a comment of someone saying that I was being nitpicky. It's not a matter of being nitpicky. Nitpicky means that it's based entirely on your personal preference, and you want things to be your own specific way. When I do these analyses videos, this is not about being nitpicky. This is about striving for excellence and doing the best work that is absolutely possible within your power. And when it comes to game development, you should strive for excellence. Always try to do your best, but you need to point out, you need to identify, point out, and revise these kinds of things as you can. And this is a situation where I think I might revise that, but you know what? It may not be that the wind is deforming the umbrella. It may be that the umbrella itself is actually broken. That may be the case. So I really quite like this umbrella. I like the way that it catches the light here. This transparent material is baked in. You see the way that it's catching light, and it's got sort of a deformation in there. That looks like it's baked in. That does not look like that is actually being sort of processed in real time. Those highlights and the shadows there, that looks like it's baked in. Good call, because it helps it have a rich depth to its material. Whereas if you rely on the game engine, and this is something that we see in Unreal 5, is in general, people don't work on the graphics that much on Unreal 5. They let the engine do all the work, and the Unreal just brute forces everything. And then you get games that all look very samey. And that's because people don't do work like this, where they bake in the details, where they consider and think about the details, and they bake it in. So this, I would say this umbrella is the opposite of like an Unreal Engine game. Okay, so we've got what are these fun little spinny guys here? Not sure what those are. Hello. I like a big, colorful attack. Okay, so we got like a humanoid, heartless type fellow there. That guy's got a cool kind of shield. Okay, so what is that? I like this visual motif. This is fun. You get to knock them in the air, you get to do the juggling. And this is a situation where realism is not interesting, right? Because you would say, oh, it's not realistic. You could have people complain and say, oh, he's knocked him into the air, but the gravity's not realistic. He's just floating in the air. Pardon my French here, but who gives a shit? If this had realistic graphics and physics simulation, it would be boring. What's fun is knocking an enemy into the air and then doing a combo and juggling him around for a bit. Very cool. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's look at the Keyblade just there. So he does... Oh, it's heavily compressed because of YouTube. Okay, you got some sort of blue visual motifs being extruded just there or ejected. Oh yeah, look at this cool flame shape. That's really cool. And then it's blue on the guard there. And then, oh, see, he can release it, and then it'll sort of spin around just there. Did he ride it as a skateboard for a second? Did I see that correctly? Did he ride it as a skateboard for a second? No, I think it just looked like it for a second. Oh man, these animations are really fantastic. This is, style and flair go a very long way. We have to balance substance with style. I think Kingdom Hearts has both substance and style. Now, what visual technique did they use for this chain? You can use particle systems for that. You can use 3D models. They seem to have a fixed length, so it's possible that that is a 3D model, and they are able to deform and control the rig for that. The rig is basically the skeletal structure. They use rope physics for that, so it's most likely, just rope physics, which is something that we've had for a very long time, but we don't often see it well used in an interesting and creative way, rope physics simulation. So I like to see that. Little stars coming out, they're going to home in and attack him. This combat looks fun as hell. I'll say that now. Ooh, a big golden thing came out of that other golden thing. There's like a golden motif going on here. Okay. So is this supposed to remind us of Japan? Is this actually supposed to be Japan? Let's see. Vehicles are driving on the left side of the road. So you go on the left side to drive. Okay, it's left side drive. So, okay. I do like the amount. See, this is tough, right? We need to balance out the amount of detail that we allocate to the environment. What I really like about these environments, have a look, and this is not something that you see in a lot of games. Look, the insides of the buildings are modeled, right? And we fake it a lot in a lot of other games. Like you look at Spider-Man, it's sort of faked to a degree. That looks like actual modeling inside the building, whereas in the past, we would have just shown the outside and it would have had a reflective surface. We can see inside the building there, which is really interesting. So to me, that helps the world feel organic and lived in. That does not look faked to me. We get a lot of this. So it looks like you're fighting these kaiju-sized creatures. You get knocked into the buildings. And I think that's why they've put so much effort into showing the depth of the buildings. But it looks like you don't go all the way in, like it stops to some point. Like you don't go all the way into the building. This is probably scripted. It wouldn't be reasonable to have all of this be dynamically destroyable. There would be a point to where that is scripted and then it stops. Okay, do these people have faces? Okay, so these people do have faces. All right, so not freaking me out there. Okay, this looks fantastic. There's a lot of style here. There's a lot of flair. I think they've done a brilliant job, but it's so interesting that they've gone for hyper-realism here in terms of the shaders. Like, if you have a look at the ground, this is something that we see in, what was the latest Jump game? Jump Stars, or whatever they call that. The way that the ground catches the light and reflects it is hyper-realism, even though the characters themselves are stylized. So something like this, to me, this clashes a bit, because we have these hyper-realistic vehicles, and that's due to the physically based renderer shaders that are reflecting the light. Have a look at the reflections here. Hyper-realistic here. You know, if you took a snapshot of that, you would think it's a racing game. But then you have a character where the characters also has high detail density, but they don't have the same visual aesthetic as the car. You know, this is quite stylized still. Stylized eyes, stylized hair, you know. And then, of course, we're going, you know, it's Kingdom Hearts. We're going to go to big, fun, colorful worlds. I think, you know, that's why the real world here looks dull. They've come into our world, and it's supposed to look boring. And then when you travel to, you know, the story worlds, it's going to look more interesting, more vibrant, more colorful. And that's important to set this kind of baseline level of reality. This looks fantastic. I really like this. What do you guys think of this? Are you looking forward to this? Do you feel like the visual tonal clashes are kind of jarring to your eyes? I think it's good. I think it's actually very good that there's a tonal clashing, because it's telling us these don't belong in our world. This is our world. They don't belong here. And I think that's what they're going for. And I think they've done an excellent job. So the more I think about it, the more I look at it, I'm going to give this an A+. A+ for Kingdom Hearts 4. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. If you're interested in my latest game that I shipped, I think I shipped it like 2 or 3 months ago. I lose track of time because I'm developing my own games, but if you would like to check out my latest game, that is The Hero of Destiny was killed by the final boss. In this game, the Hero of Destiny just lost in the final dungeon, and the NPCs that are outside of the final dungeon, they live in the little town there, and they decide they'll try to defeat the final boss themselves. And you can have a team of up to 8 characters. There's more than 50 playable characters. They all have unique sets of skills that basically allow you to puzzle solve your way through the battles. All the enemies are way stronger than you. The NPCs are level 0. The final boss is way stronger than you. You've got to use the characters' niche abilities as basically puzzle solving to get through the final dungeon. Something like this I think is very fun. You can level up your characters, you can customize their equipment, and you can engage in battle arenas as well once you have your dream team. Swap your characters around, experiment with new teams. I think something like this is really fun. So if you'd like to check that out, that's The Hero of Destiny was killed by the final boss. That's available on Steam and Switch. There is a version for Linux and also a free version for the Android devices as well, and I'll be uploading an update for that. And I'm taking into account feedback so I can add improvements to the game. Thanks everyone, take care of yourselves, be well. If there's any other games that you would like me to take a look at and discuss, please let me know. And again, if this hits 10,000 views, I'll do a character design analysis on Sora as his outfit changes throughout the years. Okay, be well, I'll see you around.